A new financial season is beginning for you. Not a tweak, not a temporary uptick, but a divine reset. God is restarting the way your life runs, starting with the foundation beneath your finances. For too long you learned to live with low limits, shifting instability, months of waiting, and the uneasy habit of expecting the next problem. That season is closing now. This change may arrive quietly at first, as an inner repositioning. You'll notice your tolerance for chaos shrinking. Decisions you once wavered on feel clearer. There is a subtle fortifying of your mind, a realignment to a level God intends to maintain. He isn't handing you excess to spend recklessly. He's instituting a steady, sustainable rhythm, regular provision, wise planning, and a peace that doesn't flicker with every bill. Imagine balance that holds, where what was once an exception becomes your everyday posture. Provision stops being a series of surprises and becomes a daily clarity. You wake without bracing for the problem of the day. Your finances begin to reflect maturity, calm, consistent, and resilient. As this new standard takes hold, certain habits will simply no longer fit. Some choices fall away not because of loss, but because of protection. Don't resist that refinement. It is God's safeguard as you step into a higher place. You are not starting from zero. You are authorized, prepared, and repositioned to receive a new pattern. This is not a sprint, but a steady rise. Gentle, sure, and supernatural in its redesign of your life structure. Do you feel a stirring inside? A quiet nudge toward something steadier? Share in the comments one habit you sense God calling you to release. Stay with me. In the next video, we'll step into the first practical move this new financial standard requires. This is the moment when the inner weather of your life begins to change, and you notice it before the bank statement does. At first, it will be subtle. Your tolerance for chaos narrows, and decisions you used to wrestle over arrive with a quiet confidence. God is not simply rearranging circumstances. He is reorienting you. He is teaching you to inhabit a steadier center so that provision can be sustained, not spectacular. You may begin to see practical signs. Opportunities come with clarity instead of frantic urgency. Income rhythms smooth out. There are fewer days of scrambling and more days of predictable provision. Old habits. Impulse purchases made to soothe anxiety. Frantic hustling that leaves you exhausted. Comparisons that drain your peace. Begin to feel out of step with who you are becoming. These are not losses, but refinements. God pruning what would hinder healthy growth so that what remains can flourish. This new pattern is measured and enduring. It is not sudden excess, but a disciplined tempo, regular inflow, wise planning, and rest that refuses to be negotiable. The peace that grows is not passive. It is the byproduct of alignment with a higher principle. You are being authorized to operate from a place of preparation, not panic. Where you once treated provision as a surprise, you will learn to wake with expectation, not dread. Lean into this repositioning. Notice the shrinking of fear and the strengthening of your yes. Pay attention to small, consistent choices, the way you allot your time, how you decide on purchases, whom you consult. These are the daily architectures of a standard that will hold. Curious, how would your life change if provision became a steady backdrop instead of a recurring crisis? Share one habit you feel ready to release in the comments. Your honesty could be the first step toward a new rhythm. Stay with me for the next video, where we'll begin to map practical rhythms that help you steward this fresh financial standard. You are standing at a threshold without even seeing the door swing fully open. At first, it is an inner quiet that catches you. Your tolerance for financial chaos lessens. The frantic scrambling that once felt normal begins to feel foreign. You find yourself making firmer choices, not out of force, but out of a steadier conviction. This is repositioning. God aligning your heart and your habits to a new, deliberate rhythm. Imagine waking and not bracing for the day. You reach for a plan, not a panic. Provision arrives on a schedule that makes sense, not in surprise flashes that leave you breathless. What feels like a miracle is actually the settling of something divine and practical. Steady income rhythms, clearer decisions, budgets that serve your life instead of trapping it. Mature prosperity looks like calm, consistent, sustainable, unhurried. It is not excess, it is refinement. As the pattern shifts, some things fall away. Old shortcuts, anxious buying, last-minute solutions. Habits that served out of fear begin to slip through your fingers. Do not resist this loss. These changes are not punishment. They are protection. God is not taking from you. He is removing what would trip you up on the new path. You are not starting over at zero. You begin from a higher place, authorized and prepared for a different kind of stewardship. Feel the slow, steady pulse of this promise. You are being taught to plan with patience, to steward with wisdom, to expect provision without panic. This is a new financial standard rooted in the character of God, not in market trends. The season of diminished expectation is closing. What once was rare will become routine. Balance becomes boring in the best way, dependable. Curious how this looks in everyday choices? Pause and notice one habit that no longer fits who you are becoming. Share it in the comments, one honest line. In the next video, we'll explore practical steps to build that steady rhythm into your daily life. You are standing at a threshold. This new standard God is establishing is not a sudden avalanche. It is a quiet, sovereign rearrangement. You will notice it first inside you, a shrinking tolerance for chaos, a gentle firmness in decisions that once felt shaky. Those inner shifts are not accidental. They are God's way of aligning your heart to a steadier rhythm. You are being repositioned to receive what you were never meant to shoulder in frantic bursts, but to steward in calm, deliberate measure. As this pattern deepens, what once seemed ordinary will change its name. Scarcity becomes an old story you can tell without reliving the fear. Surprise provision becomes expected provision, not a lottery of miracles, but a dependable cadence of blessing that meets your needs and empowers wise planning. Your daily waking no longer begins with bracing for the next emergency. It begins with a quiet confidence that tomorrow will be met. Expect refinement. Some habits will no longer fit the life God is building in you. You might feel tugged away from impulsive spending, from anxious bargaining, from decisions rooted in fear. This is not punishment. It is protection. Each habit that falls away makes room for practices that honor the gift of steady provision. Disciplined budgeting, thoughtful generosity, rest that is not rushed. These are not constraints but the contours of a mature prosperity, calm, sustainable, and holy. You do not start over at zero. You are elevated, authorized, and equipped. The financial posture God is forming in you will be consistent, not capricious. It will be steady, not spectacular for a moment and gone the next. Let your expectations rise with this change. Allow your spirit to be shaped, not into haste, but into holy steadiness. Curious about which specific patterns God will ask you to leave behind next? Share one habit you sense falling away in the comments. Honest reflection invites clarity. When you're ready, move to the next video to continue this unfolding. There is another layer of alignment waiting for you. You feel the shift like a slow sunrise, quiet at first, then undeniable warmth spreading through places you thought were fixed. God is not merely adjusting the numbers or the timing. He is reordering the architecture of how you live and receive. As this standard takes root, you notice the small things changing. Your tolerance for chaos narrows, your appetite for frantic decision-making fades, and the restless edge that once drove every financial move softens into steadiness. This is a divine repositioning. You are being trained to steward from a higher place, not hustling back up from the bottom. Old patterns, panic buying, settling for crumbs, bargaining with your peace, begin to feel foreign. They no longer match the posture God is cultivating in you. When those habits try to creep back, you sense a gentle resistance within, a protective refining that nudges you toward choices aligned with this new rhythm. The new norm is consistent, sustainable, calm. Provision arrives predictably, not sporadically. Planning replaces improvisation. Clarity replaces surprise. You wake without bracing for the daily emergency because your foundation has been strengthened. That steadiness is not the result of fleeting mercy, but of a redefined standard established by heaven itself. It is a quiet, mature prosperity that preserves your soul while it meets your needs. Do not fear the shedding. What falls away is not loss, but pruning, removal of what would have entangled your future. Receive it as protection. You are not starting from zero. You are stepping into a pre-authorized place of increase, equipped to walk a different route. Your decisions are firmer because they are rooted in a new identity, one authorized to expect continuity, to plan with wisdom, to to rest and provision. Curious how this looks in practical steps? Reflect for a moment. What is one habit you feel ready to release so you can walk fully into this new standard? Share it in the comments. Your word might clear the path for someone else. Stay with me for the next video, where we'll map the first practical rhythms that anchor this change. You are standing at the threshold of a different pace, one that does not rush you, but steadies you. The change is not fireworks and fanfare. It arrives like sunrise, deliberate and inevitable. As God begins to reset the financial standard of your life, your internal weather shifts. Your tolerance for chaos quietly diminishes. Decisions that once wavered find a new clarity, and the small, frantic choices that stole your rest begin to feel out of place. This is repositioning, and it is surgical in its mercy. Habits that no longer belong to who you are becoming will loosen their grip. Late nights of worry, bargains made in fear, spending that numbed rather than nourished. Do not see this as loss. See it as protection. What falls away were never meant to travel with you into the steadier climate He is building. You are not stripped to zero. You are lifted to a higher starting point, authorized to operate from a ground that knows provision as routine, not surprise. Feel the change in the margins of your life. Regular income arriving as part of a pattern, planning that feels less like a scramble and more like a craft, a persistent peace that accompanies your routines. Mature prosperity is calm, measured, generous, intentional. It does not demand excess. It trusts a rhythm. When you wake in the mornings, you will not brace for the day. You will move through it with a quiet expectation that God has already accounted for what you need. Let this repositioning refine your taste for decisions. Let it teach you restraint where you once chased impulses, and courage where you once settled for less. There is a new standard being laid in your spiritual ledger, and your job is to walk into it with steady feet. Curious how this looks in your daily choices? Share one habit you feel God is asking you to let go of in the comments. Your honesty might give someone else courage. In the next video, we'll explore practical rhythms you can begin today to steward this new financial standard with wisdom and faith. You are standing at the edge of a subtle but seismic shift. It does not arrive with trumpets or fireworks. It moves like a tide that has finally learned its rhythm. For years you have learned to anticipate lack, to negotiate with uncertainty, to accept that every month held tight corners and last-minute prayers. Now, God is rewriting the terms. He is not simply giving you more. He is changing the house in which your provision lives. At first, the change will be interior. You will notice a lesser tolerance for chaos, a soft but undeniable refusal to return to frantic decisions and short-term fixes. Your thoughts about money settle into clearer lanes. Where you once judged success by noise and emergency, you begin to value steadiness, planning, and the quiet satisfaction of accounts that reconcile without panic. This is repositioning, God aligning your soul to a higher operating standard. Some patterns that served you in scarcity will not survive this new order. Habits of fear, of hoarding, of reactive giving and reactive spending will fall away, not as punishment, but as protection. These losses are part of the refinement. Imagine a gardener pruning so the tree bears fruit more abundantly. God is pruning you. Resist less. Receive more. You are not starting over from scratch. You are continuing from a vantage point you were not permitted before. Practical signs will follow. Mornings that begin with peace instead of dread. Decisions that land with conviction. Plans that grow into rhythms. Provision becomes predictable because your heart and your hands have been rearranged to steward what God entrusts. Mature prosperity will feel calm. It will be steady, responsible, and generous. Notice the evidence. Which small comforts of your old scarcity are losing their hold? What new discipline feels right in your spirit? Pause and reflect. Curious about the next step? Leave a comment below naming one habit you are ready to release. In the next video, we will explore how to steward these new rhythms. Practical steps that match the spiritual shift God is initiating in your finances. You are moving into a season that looks nothing like what you endured. At first, the change will be quiet, an inner settling, a soft no to habits that once felt necessary. That subtle shift is not accidental. It is divine repositioning. God is not merely tweaking a budget or blessing a one-off miracle. He is resetting the rhythm of your life so provision becomes a steady cadence. not an emergency drumbeat. Notice the signs. Mornings without the tightness of worry. Decisions made with calm clarity. A new resistance to choices born from fear. Old patterns. Impulse buys to soothe. Late-night anxiety over bills. The habit of hoping for exceptions. Begin to feel out of tune. Let them go. This refinement is protection, not punishment. It shelters your future so the life you build can be sustainable and generous. You will discover that mature prosperity is patient. It shows up as regular income that you plan around, as systems that honor stewardship, as peace that holds even when markets wobble or seasons change. Your faith will turn into practical disciplines, consistent giving, thoughtful saving, conversations about legacy, wiser commitments. God is giving you authority to steward a new standard, not to flaunt it, but to cultivate it. Respond with trust. When fear presses, remember you're not starting over. You are being elevated. The limits you once accepted are shifting upward. The measures that used to define you will no longer confine you. Walk forward with steady steps. Let small adjustments become sacred routines. Protect your margin. Praise quietly. Plan wisely. Curiosity. What if one small habit released today opens a lifetime of steady provision? Pause and listen. Reflective comment. Which habit is God inviting you to let go of right now? Share that below. Your honesty may give someone else courage. Next video, we'll translate this new standard into the very first practical step you can take tomorrow to align your finances with the season God is beginning. You are standing at the edge of something ordained, not a whim, but a recalibration from heaven itself. This is the quiet conclusion of a season that taught you carefulness and endurance. It is also the gentle opening of a steadier rhythm. God is not adding more noise to what already felt fragile. He is reformatting the foundation beneath your finances so that steadiness becomes your default, not a rare blessing. In this new pattern, your mornings will change. You will wake with a soft confidence instead of a tightness in your chest. Decisions that once felt like balancing acts will settle into clarity. Where you once braced for surprises, you will meet your day with reserves, emotional and practical, because provision will arrive with predictable cadence. This is mature prosperity, calm, sustainable, unhurried. It is the fruit of alignment, not frenzy. You are being refined, not punished. Habits that fit the old season will naturally fall away. Some relationships with spending, with worry, with expectations, they will no longer belong to the life God is forming in you. Let them go. The pruning protects what He is growing. You are not beginning from less. You are commencing from a higher place of preparedness and authorization. The limits that defined you are shrinking away so that you may operate from fullness, wisdom, and responsible provision. Hold this truth. What was once exceptional is becoming ordinary. Balance becomes a practice, not a miracle. Peace becomes your framework. As this standard settles, your role is simple and sacred. Receive, steward, and live as a testimony of God's new measure. Curious what the first practical shift looks like when this standard begins to move in your life? Share one honest thought in the comments below, a fear, a hope, or a small step you're ready to take, and let this community pray and stand with you. Watch the next video to see the first 3 daily rhythms that make this new financial pattern real and lasting.